What is up, YouTube? So I've been absent for about 6 weeks, and in that video we're going to touch on why I've been absent for about 6 weeks. But first we're going to start with what I mentioned in the last video, which is the thing that took up about a week of my time, 2 weeks of my time, but it was a good thing, which is what I'm actually sitting in right now. So this spring, when that started, I was talking to the family that used to live with me a couple of years ago, and the little 8-year-old girl who I kind of treat like a daughter in a sense. And was talking to them, and they agreed to allow my wife and I to take this little girl on day trips around anywhere we want. And I got really excited for that. But to do that, all I needed was my Escape, just a small SUV. I didn't need anything else. And then something else happened a little bit. So I get told by my wife's other friend that if I'd like to bring her 3 kids on these day trips, I'm more than welcome to, and I get really excited and really stoked. But now it's myself, my wife, Emberlyn, Charlie, Frankie, and Spencer. So my SUV doesn't work anymore, and I needed something bigger. So I started looking into minivans and bigger SUVs, and people were wanting way too much money for stuff that I would have to fix anyway. So while I'm looking for that, something else happens. The mother to those 3 kids and her boyfriend, I started talking to them, and they said, well, we'd love to come on these day trips as well. But now that is Charlie, Frankie, Spencer, Emberlyn, Brian, Natalie, my wife, and myself. Now we're up to 8 seats needed. So I started looking at large SUVs, you know, your Expeditions and massive Suburbans and Yukon XLs. And I was finding some, and I was looking at them, and in the end, I happened to find this, which I've already jumped back a couple rows, so I'm not even going to cut the camera. So this is a passenger van. But now let me bring you back here and show you some things. So right now I'm in the back seat. Now originally this van had one more seat that the previous owner removed before I got it. And I got this thing very cheap. I put in some work to it, and I saved a ton of money in comparison to these minivans and that. And right now I have an 11-seater, which is awesome. One other thing that is super awesome. I am completely laying down right now, and I'm not 6 foot tall, but this is, think about that, 6 feet wide on the inside. Now I'm sitting in the hatch, and this space back here where the seat was removed is roughly about 4 feet by 6 feet. So while this thing was purchased on the intent of taking kids on day trips and showing them just a great, awesome time, which you can consider not to be selfish, I also can put some skate ramps back here, and on the next check, I'll probably start looking into the materials I need to build some epic skate ramps, and I'll be excited about that. But let's finish up the video back in the front. So I don't get excited over a lot of vehicles. I drive a ton of vehicles, and while muscle cars I think are really cool, I don't really see myself owning one for a long time at least. But when I seen this van and I got to play with it, there's a lot of interesting things to me. So this Ram was made in '02. This is what this is. It's a 2002 Ram van. And in '02, you think you would have 2000 electronics. But no, it has 90s electronics. And the motor isn't even from the 90s either. The motor's from the 80s. But yet it was all made. So I'm guessing it was all just surplus stuff they had lying around. But like, I even have CDs and cassettes. And one like feature I've never seen before is if you pop a cassette in, which I have a couple in here, and you hit skip next track, it will actually fast forward the tape into the next track and start it perfectly every time. I've never seen that before. So there's a lot of silly little features, but tomorrow is actually our first trip we're taking with a large group, which will be 3 kids and 6 adults. So it's gonna be awesome, it's gonna be great, but enough of me talking. Let's go skate a little. All in all, great session. I'm a little beat up, a little sweaty, a little sunburnt, but I learned a new trick, stoked and happy. But now we're finishing up on story time, and I'm going to try to get through this pretty quickly, but we're going to start at the beginning. A few years ago, we hired a boss that I did not get along with pretty much at all. He was very arrogant and tried to flaunt money that he had around and pay people off to look the other way on a lot of things. Now, I knew about a lot of the things that were going on, not all of them. I've recently learned more, and every time I brought it up, it was kind of just pushed to the side. So I kind of just avoided him at all costs. I like my job, and I can do it without really dealing with management staff at all. So anyway, last year we hire a couple of new guys, and I've been lead tech for a long time, which means I'm in charge of the shop. I train the guys. I make sure their problems are fixed. They come to me with issues. I do a lot of responsibility in the shop. We hire a guy who's about middle-aged and he knows what he's doing, so I don't really need to hover over him, and he knows that, so I just leave him alone. So my shadows want to start gravitating towards him, and I told him I had no hard feelings. Go learn new things from other people. That's how we broaden our knowledge. So I was kind of getting, mostly by the boss, pushed to the side, and no longer was I lead tech, I was tech in the way. And I was kind of feeling bummed out and sad about it, and an opportunity came for me to change locations and be the lead tech over there, and the agreement was that it was my shop and they were my guys and I'd be charging it. So I decided to jump on that opportunity and get a raise and transfer to this other location, and I was only there for a few months when I was asked to go back to my original location, and I really didn't know why. But I agree. I like my original location, so I go back, and things are way better. Turns out the boss got caught doing these illegal activities, and there was an investigation conducted, and they fired him. He had been trying to fire me for over a year, but he was afraid I had too much evidence against him. So it ended up working out in my favor, I guess. I still got my raise, and I'm back to where I was, and things are a lot better. Recently, though, I then bought this van. So I dealt with all that, and then I bought this van. And for 2 weeks, I would bust my butt to make sure every single customer's vehicle was done, so I'd have 10 or 15 minutes to work on this van. And after about 2 weeks, I got it done. Well, once those 2 weeks were over, we also lost 2 guys. And now it's me and 2 other guys, so 3 of us, but we're busting out the work of the equivalent of 6 to 8 guys, and that's what the numbers are saying. So if I'm doing a 10-hour day, I'm actually pushing out 20 hours worth of work, and I'm doing that every week. So I'm tired. And that's pretty much it. Like, I'm getting home, and I'm still working on projects at home. I'm still working on things to sell, but I've had no inhibition on the weekends to really do anything. I'd rather just load up the van and take people out and go have some fun than go out, skate, and do stuff. So I definitely want to get back into skating more, and this week we have a new hire coming, and then the week after we have another guy coming. So hopefully things adjust a little bit, but as always, thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. Have a great day, guys, and keep pushing forward.